Hello, this is Brother Cromar from the Maths Department at BYU, Idaho, and this is a supplement of Lesson 24 dealing with SPSS commands. So the three main commands I'll talk about is regression, then I'll talk about residual plots, and then I'll wrap it up with QQ plots or residuals. Now there's other commands in SPSS that deal with regression that I've covered in lessons 22 and 23 that you should be able to do for lesson 24. So if you need to go back to those, review those SPSS videos from lessons 22 and 23. So first I'll talk about regression. Okay. So here's the crocodile data. I'm going to use that. So this is where, if you remember the supercroc video, is we're trying to predict body length based off of head length. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to analyze regression linear. And so I'm going to take, since we're trying to predict body length, I'm going to put that in the dependent box. And what we're using to predict body length is head length, so I'll be put in the independence box. So then I'm going to click on a couple more things. I'm going to click on statistics. Since I need to do a confidence interval, I'll click on confidence interval here. And then save, since I'm going to I need to save residuals, so I'm going to click on unstandardized residuals. So I'm going to need these residuals for later. So I'm going to click on continue, and then I'm going to click on OK. And so when I do that, then what I have is that I have the output that I need. So for instance, here's where we get our degrees of freedom. It's right here under the residual row. Degrees of freedom 26, and then this is where we get my test statistic. It's in the bottom row. It's always the bottom row. This is my test statistic, and then this is my p-value. Okay, and then this is where I get my confidence interval. So all the information really I get on the bottom row. Now, if you remember where we got our coefficients, our b0 and b1 are here. So the only thing we need in the first row is this number right here for our y-intercept. But everything else we need is in the bottom row. Okay. So the next item I want to mention is how to do a residual plot. So what I want to do is let's just I'm going to go to Graphs, Legacy Dialog, and Scatter Dot. So I'll just do a simple scatter. That's default. That's what you do. First of all, I'll just review how to do a scatter plot. So I'm going to put in body length. We're trying to predict body length. That's my y-axis, and head length is my x-axis. Click on OK, and then we have a scatter plot. You've done that before. Okay. So now what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to use the same commands. I'm going to do a scatter plot. And so instead of body length being my y-axis, I put in residuals instead. That's the only difference between a scatter plot and a residual plot. The residuals are in the y-axis versus in a scatter plot you have the response variable. In this case is body length. I click on OK, and then here is my residual plot. Okay. So then finally, what I'll do is with those residuals, I'm going to create a QQ plot of residuals. Okay, and you've done a QQ plot before, but now all I'm going to do is do Analyze, Descriptive Statistics, Explore. That's where I've directed you in terms of getting residual plots, or excuse me, to getting QQ plots. But now we're going to get QQ plots for residuals. So all we're doing here is taking our residuals and put it into our dependent list. But then what we need to do is, if you remember, to go to Plots and click on Normality Plot with tests. Click on Continue and then click on OK, and then you'll get a bunch of outputs since this is the Explore command. But what we're interested in is this one right here, and this is the check to see if we have if the error term is normal. We have an outlier here, but it looks like that the error term is normal because all the dots are at or close to the line. I forgot to mention with the residual plot, since there is no pattern, there's no megaphone, that we can assume that of a linear relationship, as well as that we have that we consume a constant variance since we don't have a megaphone shape. Okay, and that concludes the video for lesson 24 dealing with SPSS commands.